So, how do you get better at something? I think the real simple answer is that you just repeat. That's it. Just repetition. Doing the same thing over and over and over again. But I want to use my sister as an example. And hopefully she doesn't get mad at me. I know she watches these YouTube videos every once in a while. But my sister, I'm pretty proud of her with what she's actually done. And it's not necessarily the same thing. If I say repetition, it seems like it's a really easy thing, right? That it's pretty boring. There's nothing to it. It's the same thing. Like you just have to do the same thing over and over and over again, right? You just repeat the same action over and over and over again. But for human beings, for all of us, we really struggle with that because we think about what other people are thinking about us, right? We're looking at the world around us, and often we have this sometimes we have bad experiences growing up where somebody does make fun of us. In fact, that's probably most of us. Sometimes we have anxiety, just natural anxiety that's built into us as human beings. And, we're really struggling with these kind of things. Sometimes we just have difficulty repeating the same thing that we had a bad experience with, right? And that could be something really, really minor, and we sort of shy away from that. Sometimes we grow up in environments where we are just kind of naturally, we're sort of made to be naturally shy in that particular environment. Um, and, we struggle with repeating the same thing. So I'm talking about my sister at this moment that I've seen her progress as a musician over the last couple of years. It's been really fun to watch. She's kind of always been somebody that's been interested in music, but she's still kind of shy about it. So she just plays the guitar around family and friends. But even that was a really big thing for her. And it still is. I could see that it still is a really big thing for her to play in front of other people. And it's a real struggle to actually do that because you have all of these emotions inside and feelings and stuff that are coming out, and you want to actually do this thing. But, you're really processing all the sort of beliefs in your head that you're not good enough, that, 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 somebody's going to make fun of you, all of these kind of things. In fact, we are in a big family that we all kind of make fun of each other, which is, pros and cons, right? But, what you have to sort of process and think about is what's the worst that's going to happen? What is actually going to happen if I do this thing? If I get up and I repeat, so the first time I bail, or, I stopped a little ways into it and there's nothing that makes me want to go. I want to quit. Maybe I might cry. Like all of those kind of emotions come out, and then you stop, right? And somebody, and most people, would likely stop and never pursue that thing again because they're like, I just had a really bad experience. I'm never going to do this. It was really not that fun. But what you realize is that if you just keep going, if you get back up and you do that thing again, it's not as bad the second time you do it. Maybe it's worse. Maybe it's worse until the 10th time that you do it. But eventually you get this feeling of, hey, I can do this. I know it feels really weird. So if I was in front of 1,000 people right now, right? If there was 1,000 people watching me, I would feel very nervous and I would feel very awkward. All those kind of emotions would come up because, I grew up in a large family, but like very, very closed family, I guess, right? It wasn't sort of a thing to go and speak in front of a bunch of people. My dad struggled with it. My mom would struggle with speaking in front of people, so it wasn't a thing for us. But, the only way that you get over this, right, is just by doing it. Repetition, repetition, repetition. But the hard part is actually repeating, even though that you don't want to do it. So I think about, how do you become successful, right? A lot of us, sort of think of luck as a sort of success formula, right? We might, win the lottery. We might be Justin Bieber and somebody picks us out of YouTube, for example, like all these kind of things. But that is not what a normal person does. That is not the normal equation to where you actually get better. I want you to look around everybody that you know, every single person that you know. How did they actually get better and how did they become successful? And I want you to look at, normal everyday people. Maybe it is somebody that, works in HVAC, for example. Maybe they work in, maybe they're an accountant. Maybe they are, I don't know, they're running a home daycare, whatever, any sort of stuff, right? Like all sorts of stuff. And the only way that they get better is through a little bit of repetition every single day within a particular area. And that repetition, if you look at it, takes a long time. It takes, a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades by the time it actually becomes really like you're at the top of your game, right? It's not this sort of all of a sudden you get from here to there. It is this slow progression where you start off as nothing, like you basically start at the ground zero and then you sort of work your way up and all of a sudden you're like, hey, this actually paid off with this particular thing. So, and the only way that you can actually do this is you get up and you repeat. You get up and you repeat every day until it just becomes your thing. And that's your life. And you don't even realize that it's happened, right? And I think everybody should sort of recognize that if they are going to look around, right? And they want to become quote unquote successful or whatever that looks like. I don't even like that sort of terminology, but, live live a life that they feel that has meaning, that they feel that has some sort of purpose, that they are interacting with people that they actually like and want to be around. It's just that repetition every day, that little bit every single day until something clicks. And it might take, it's not going to take less than 5 years, right? Like, don't even delude yourself that it's going to happen in 5 years. It might take 20, right? 20 years, but it's likely going to take 40. And if you sort of have that mind belief that it's going to take that long, then you have a different story in your mind that you're playing out, right? So, somebody in my family didn't do so well at, competition this weekend. And I've been thinking about how do you communicate that, right? So what you do is think about how you can grow from this particular moment, right? So if you believe that this race was everything and this thing was everything, then it's not gonna be fun, right? But if you believe that, hey, you still have 20 more years of actually doing this, and you might be, the 50-year-old best person in this particular category, that's still pretty awesome, right? That's still pretty incredible to actually get there. You might not be the best person at 16 or the best person at 25, but certainly you're the best person when you're there at 50 because you have lived that life where you actually became a little better every single day. That's what it takes. That's really what it takes, over and over and over again. And that's the only thing that you could do, right? So the one thing, I guess what you can do is just hope that you were just lucky. You had the lottery where you were just naturally extremely beautiful. How many people do you know that's just naturally extremely beautiful? Probably nobody. You were just very lucky that you were born into a very wealthy family, or you were born into a family that were mucky mucks. That's what my family, like high prestige. If you were lucky enough that happened, which is nobody, right? That's such a small group of individuals. Then by all means, sort of bet on the, I am just gonna try once and then give up. But, for all of us, it's a little bit by little bit by little bit until 30, 40, 50 years, something actually clicks. And you look around, you're like, holy crap, this all worked out. That's it. Slow and steady every single day. All right, take care.